Hi there, so I am doing my third and final piece for my assignment, which is kind of just reflecting on my first video and reflecting on my second video. So here we go. So my first video, it was a general overview of what a formative assessment is, and I broke it down into three different categories. So the first one is that formative assessments are for the students. This assessment is directed to the students and how they receive the information that the teachers are giving them. The second one is that formative assessments are very informative. This assessment seeks to determine how the student is processing the information and their learning goals. And the third one is achieving goals, and I also threw in feedback because the feedback the teacher receives can help identify the student's strength and weakness in achieving their goals. So, looking back at my video, I really enjoyed doing this activity because I learned a lot and I was able to kind of apply it when doing this second video with my dad. And I realized how many different types of formative assessments that there are that can be used in the classroom. So some are conducted through conversation and others are done by pencil and paper. So looking back on my second video, I really liked how it turned out. So before this video happened, I was thinking about having my dad do a full diorama, a shoebox diorama, but it would take way too much time and I only had 10 minutes. So I had him just do this blueprint of what he would do in his diorama. So the topic was the positive and negative effects on a hurricane on the city. So this was his positive. He wasn't able to find very many, but he found one. And he talked about how the rainfall will help the crops. But I really wanted him to focus it back onto what in the city. So I had to redirect him and kind of give him a couple of little things. And he was able to come up with that a positive would be that his lawn would get watered if there was a drought or something. The negative effects on a city, and this is his picture, and he talked about how the trees would turn over and the cars would be turned over and the buildings, and that there'd be clouds in the sky. I was able to also, during this conversation of kind of talking to him about his blueprint, I was also able to talk to him about his deposition targets. So questions like, how this seems really personal, and how does this affect you, and will this affect the state of Washington or even the city of Tacoma? It felt a lot more comfortable for me to kind of interweave that into the conversation that I was having with him about his blueprint. I was also able to carry out my formative assessment by talking with him. And if I was in the classroom, I would also take anecdotal notes. So just little things that he would say so I can remember, because you're doing this for 20 kids, it's hard to remember what each person says. So something that I would use in my future classroom would be that I would carry around a notebook, and when I talk to students, I would take down short notes, and then at the end of the day, I would go back over. And I think that the more you get to know your student, the more you're able to really help them understand, because each student has a different learning style, and you really want to make sure that every student is connecting with the material. I also have found that's why I really like formative assessment, because you're able to check in with the students, not just at the very end of the unit, but the process of them learning every element in the unit. Something that surprised me was how in my life, as in like high school and elementary school and middle school, I didn't have very many formative assessments. So it really surprised me how, I feel like this would be a lot more positively looked on. But I remember just having tests on Friday over the whole unit, and it really hurt me because I wasn't able to remember every single thing, and if there was one topic at the very beginning of the lesson, I wasn't able to really understand that. And so then it showed on my test, and this goal that the teacher had for me, I was not able to meet. In my second video, I would have done this, but I really like using exit slips. So I think this is a great way to kind of see how students are doing at a glance. For example, this exit slip would have to do with the diorama and the information that they've gathered through that process. So I would have them put their name on here. Then it says, I understand the information, and they will circle 1. It says, I still need help, I'm almost there, or I got it, which is like a sun or to the storm. And then I would have them answer 2 questions kind of about the topic that we're talking about. So one question is, what is one positive effect a hurricane has on a city? And the second question is, what is one negative effect that a hurricane has on a city? And then this very last one is kind of for me, but it says, to help me understand the effects a hurricane has on a city, my teacher can help me by. And so at the end of the day, if I collect these, I'm able to kind of just like flip through them and look at who has the sun circled or who has the storm circled, and just hear their voice about what I can do to help them, because I think student voice is also a very large part in what will be effective for them. I learned a lot about formative assessments, and I realized how many different ones there are. So not all of them are catered towards elementary school, but I found a couple of them that I'm really excited to use. For example, we've done these exit slips before in other classes, but the KWL chart, I really like the Venn diagram. Just sitting with them and talking and asking probing questions to get their critical thinking going is really important, especially at a younger age. I think my ability to use form assessments will grow as I'm in the classroom, but I really am looking forward to using this kind of method and this formative assessments throughout not only one subject area, but I think it would be awesome to do through all subjects. And I'm really happy about how my second video turned out, and it was really fun just to work with my dad because he's never seen me do an assignment, or he was now able to understand what I'm doing and how I'm applying it to my future classroom. So to close up, formative assessments are based on the progress that students make throughout the unit, not just testing them at the end of the unit. And I think it's very important to get to know your students and to know where their strengths and weakness in points are, because then you're able to tailor your information and instruction towards them. Thank you.